Hey everyone, John Henry here, slingshotfutures.com, and welcome to the Market Mindset, where we look into the psychology behind the moves today so that we can better trade tomorrow. And today, we're going to take a look at one of my favorite currency pairs, the pound dollar. Now, the pound dollar has had a relatively nice run up here, and if we zoom out, we can see that it's a little bit kind of what we wouldn't expect to see. We've had a nice downtrend working its way lower. If anything, we found a little bit of a range, and now all of a sudden we're rocketing to the upside. Something has obviously changed. Now, we broke out of the range earlier this morning after the weekends opened up on Sunday, relatively range bound. It didn't really go anywhere. And then we found a bunch of buying here at 6 o'clock. Now, once we started kicking off on that buy move up, they really didn't stop. They couldn't even pull back really much more than a couple candles before forming a little flag, a breakout, and then massive continuation. Now, this spike higher came on surprise news for the British pound, but once that kicked off, that really confirmed everything, right? It's obvious that the buyers are in. It's obvious that buyers probably don't want to buy way the heck up here. We want to see a little bit of a pullback. There will be buyers in who bought down here, maybe bought the test of the moving average, maybe even just bought the close of this big bull candle thinking, you know what? This thing is going to go higher and I want to be on board. So we know that there are a huge amount of buyers on the move. Now, for you and I'm not going to be buying into this just because, well, a spike could easily just turn around and drop back down to the lows. So I want to see a little bit of extra confirmation. We get a beautiful little pullback right here. Nice little 2-candle pullback into a 141 spike for you members. If you haven't seen that yet, make sure to log in and check the tutorial out on that because it is phenomenal and we caught a bunch of moves off of it today. Nice little 141 spike push back up to the upside. Quick little scalp, nothing fancy out of it by any means. And that's really what we were anticipating because now we saw that the buyers probably got trapped in here, right? The buyers bought in here and immediately were wrong. And there's going to be a lot of people who are going to get nervous around that. Now, the folks who bought here, they're feeling just fine, right? No reason to be nervous. Everything is hunky-dory. You know, we're still above my entry point. You know, maybe my stop started down here, and now after seeing this, I'm just going to move my stop closer, maybe even to break even. And that ends up just being a trap because we get a run higher. We get the targets out. The buyers who bought in here were given an option to get out at break even, and that caused a secondary push down. For the buyers who thought, you know what, this is a nice little bottom, I'm just going to put my stop underneath there, well, they got whipped out, right? And not only that, the buyers who bought in here at the close of that bull candle, it came back to the break-even point, and if they went to break even, they got tapped out, probably very close to the tick, before turning right back up again. Now, the fact that it went to the tick, turned right back around into a relatively weak bull candle, and then followed it up with a very strong bull candle afterward, that shows you that that was just a trap. We trapped out the buyers on the highs, so they missed the move up. They got in too late and got lucky enough to get out at break even. The buyers who bought in here, they got pressured and whipped out at break even. And then, on top of that, we also had the buyers who maybe bought up here who took a loss underneath this low. So we have a lot of disappointed buyers, but the sellers aren't taking over. And that's a really big clue because now, when there's disappointed buyers, but the sellers aren't taking over, that tells us one big thing. Buyers are accumulating, but they're accumulating in an area that makes sense. They don't want to buy way up here. They don't want to buy way up here. They want to buy the pullback. And that's exactly what they did. It just so happens that unfortunately for these guys here, well, they got whipped out for them to do it. And that gives us another clue to jump on with the train to ride the move back up towards the highs. Now, the one big concern that we had is still this massive bull candle. There's a lot of wick on the top of it. And that's not something that you really want to deal with because a lot of times if it comes back up to it and it fails, it shows signs of failure, get the heck out because it's probably not going. We had a beautiful strong push right before the breakout attempt, and that finished the move off to the upside. Now, the one big reason why I say finished it off, look at what happened at the highs here, right? They pushed up, they found a twin reversal out of the highs, and then immediately popped right back down. Now, for me, that got me out, right? I'm not interested in hanging on anymore. Get me out of the trade, I'm good, right? Call it enough. All is said and done, it did what it was supposed to do, and it couldn't continue. So you get out of the trade. The trade is no longer valid in terms of what we were looking for. And when it comes back to the highs, they try to push out again and fail again. They try again, and they fail again. And that really just ends up forming a little wedge right here, and it broke down, right? So now we're not necessarily looking for a long-term short position, but it's obvious that the buyers are giving up. They no longer want to hang on to this, and that allows for a short-term move back down to just an area of support. Probably this earlier area where we found a double bottom. And guess where we found some bouncing? Right? Buyers are trying to buy cheap once again because they don't want to buy way up here. So just a beautiful combination of basically a mix between technical analysis along with the market psychology and everything that's going on, trapping out the traders, forcing them to go along with it and run after it and chase it. That causes a further move. Then maybe that move didn't work out so well, whip them out at break even, maybe even a small loss just to turn back around and run in their direction. And guess what? They chase it again. So that's going to do it for today. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you found it interesting, and we'll see you next time.